we have time for a little mini sermon? I'm going to switch gears, and I'll tie it together. But this is the Shabbat before Purim. So I want to switch just a little bit. But how many of you know that there is absolute proof in the Bible that Yeshua celebrated Purim? Absolute proof that Yeshua celebrated Purim. I'll show you. Let's look at John 5, verse 1 through 9. It says, after this, there was a Jewish feast. Which one is that, John? And Yeshua went up to Jerusalem. Now in Jerusalem, there was a pool by the sheep gate called Bethesda in the Aramaic, which is 5 porches. And in these, a crowd of invalids was lying around, blind, lame, disabled. Now a centurion who had been laying there for 8 years, seeing him lying there, knowing that he had been this way a long time, Yeshua said to him, do you want to get well? The invalid answered him, yes, sir, I have no one to put in the pool. When the water stirred up, while I'm trying to get in, somebody else steps in before me. Yeshua says, get up, pick up your mat and walk. And immediately the man was healed. He took up his mat and started walking around. Now that day was the Shabbat. So we get from this context, it was Shabbat, and that Yeshua is celebrating this unnamed Jewish feast. So I love it the way that Rabbi Michael Barclay of Temple Ner Sameach did an article on it, and just came out a couple days ago. He said, not a Messianic Jew, he said he's a traditional rabbi. But he wrote this great article that Yeshua kept Purim. I thought, wow, this is interesting. From a non-Messianic, non-believing rabbi, he says that Yeshua was undeniable. He said we can argue about whether he was the image of God or God, the manifestation of God in the flesh, or whether he was just a rabbi or teacher, but we can't argue about that he was Jewish. That Yeshua is Jewish. He's circumcised on the 8th day. He lives a good Torah observant life. He's Jewish. That part he says we can't argue about. And he says Yeshua, being a good Jew, kept Purim. And he used this as his text. Wow, it's beautiful to see a non-Messianic Jew use the apostolic writings. That's pretty cool. And he's arguing from the apostolic writings that Christians ought to come alongside and celebrate Purim. Because he said, your Messiah did it. Your Christ, your Jesus did it. And so the question is, how do you get that out of that text, Rabbi? It says an unnamed Jewish feast. Now, how are you getting that to be Purim? He says, it's simple. We can go back now. We've got the ability to look back in time and look at the years. And from 25 AD to 35 AD, the only Jewish feast that falls on Shabbat in that whole 10 years, Purim.